Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gator Light, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gator Light hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
Get business done with the new American Express Graphite Business Cash Unlimited card. With unlimited 2% cash back on all eligible purchases, unlimited 5% cash back on flights and prepaid hotels booked through American Express Travel Online, and a flexible spending capacity that can grow with your business, you'll have the confidence to keep building. Apply today and earn a welcome offer of $1,500 cash back after you spend $50,000 in qualifying purchases on your new card within the first 6 months of card membership. Terms apply. Learn more at go.amex/graphite.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged, episode 664. We're going to talk to Coach Lamie today. It's a 3-part series, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're super excited about talking to him. He's got a lot of great golden nuggets in here. But before we jump into that, I'd like to give a big shout out to our 2 sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish. In my opinion, the most innovative shooting machine on the market. If you can see, I don't believe there's another machine that gives you the workouts and the things like that. And what I love about Dr. Dish is all the stuff that they have in the last 3 or 4 months that they have given back, the communities, the workouts, the drills. Hats off to them. Mention Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $350 off your next purchase. Also, I can tell you, I'm working with my programmer. I've said this for like 6 months, but we are close. Prices are going to be increasing because I got to pay for the programmer at teachhoops.com. So go over and check it out. We've added a lot of new information, a lot of new stuff. You will not be disappointed. It is a great resource. It is one-stop shopping for basketball coaches. You get my email, you get me. If you need references, trust me, I will get them to you. I spent this morning walking through some film with a teachhoops.com coach member talking about what I think he needs to do next year. That's the service that you'll get with teachhoops.com. So go over and check it out. All right, let's head off to the podcast.
All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. Like I was teasing with Coach, I'm not sure what number this is going to be. It's probably going to still be in the 600s for podcast, but I'm not sure. So Coach, okay, so is it Lamie? How do you say your last name?
Yes, Lamie.
Lamie. Ooh, good.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, you hit it on the mark.
That's very rarely do I do that. I mean, the first day of school, I teach statistics, and so like I'm in heaven with all the stats that are going on right now. But I have the kids pronounce their names first all the way around so I can hear it. And I didn't have Coach do that. But Coach, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, kind of tell your basketball journey to all the listeners. And then we're going to talk about a couple topics and we'll dive in and see where the crazy thing takes us. But
sure.
Okay, hey, go ahead. It's all yours.
My name's Steve Lamie. I'm the head basketball coach at Grove City College, which is it's a small Christian college in Western Pennsylvania. And
what's the biggest city? What's the biggest city close to it? So I can put it
we're an hour north of Pittsburgh. Exact, just right up the interstate.
That's not bad. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I was trying to think if my son looked at any schools in Pennsylvania. I know we drive. My brother has a place in New Hampshire, so we drive.
Yeah, we're right off Route 80, so really easy to get to.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And how old is that school?
1876. So we've been blessed and have not lost our roots. It's a high academic Christian school. Always has been. Hopefully always will be.
Well, all right. Yeah. And how did you get there? Where did you start?
Yeah, I graduated from Grove City back in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
And I got a teaching certificate while I was here. So my first job was in the middle of the state, a town called Lebanon. And I was the freshman basketball coach there, and I taught biology. So I did that for 4 years. And then
everybody should be a freshman coach at some point in their life.
Amen.
I swear to God. I was talking to a coach, I don't remember who it was, and I've done so many of these in the last couple of weeks. And it's like it teaches you a couple things. It teaches you the beginning of the sport. It teaches you keeping track of things. It teaches you need to coach from the center of the court.
That's a great point, Steve.
Isn't it?
And I had to make up my own lesson plans and my
Right.
own practice plans. And so
Right. You're just
I
thrown
was
into the
really
wolves.
fortunate.
You are quote unquote a head. What I tell people, when you're a freshman coach, you're a head coach. And they go, what do you mean?
Yes.
I go, you are running that freshman team.
Mhm.
The varsity coach is going to tell you, he's not watching you every day and at practice
Right.
every day. It's your team. You know, he's
Yeah.
going to maybe tell you, I mean, I would tell my freshmen to play man, do these kind of things, but I'm not watching them. It's like I said, it's not like you're a varsity assistant. You're running a team, and that's a great thing, I think. But
Yeah.
And you did that for how long?
I did that for 4 years, and then I got a break, and I was hired as a graduate assistant coach at Kent State University over in Ohio.
Okay. Yep.
And was there for 2 years. Instead of staying in the college ranks, I wanted to go back and teach and coach the high school. So I did that for 3 years. And then my head coach at Grove City College, his name is John Barr, was in need of an assistant. And so I became his assistant for $10,000. I had to live in the dormitories.
What year was that?
That was in 1994.
There's your vow of poverty right there, baby.
Yeah, well, I had no debt and I was not married.
Okay.
And I lived in the dorm and I taught some biology laboratories. But when he retired 4 years later, I was elevated to the head coaching position. That was in 1998.
Okay.
So I've been at Grove City ever since.
So a couple questions before we dive into some of your topics. What is the easiest part of recruiting for your school, and what's the hardest part of recruiting for your school?
Yeah, that's a great question. The easy part is we're such a niche school that we're going to like a part of the population is going to be eliminated just because of academics, and another part of the population is going to be eliminated because they don't want a faith-based school.
Right.
So we know who we can target kids right off the bat by just asking a couple questions early in the process.
Right. I think sometimes I was talking to a college coach. I think sometimes it's easier for schools like that. Like the league my son's going to with Middlebury. There's only a percentage of the kids that can get into those schools. Period. You're eliminating 98% of the general population that plays basketball and that are male, and then you're only dealing with the two. So and now you're probably even niching down more like academic and Christian based or That's awesome. Okay.
So that's the easy part, but the difficult part is of late over the last, I would say 10 years, it's the finances where a young man, a family has to pay for college, and our costs have slowly risen over that time.
Right.
And up until this year, the financial aid has gone down. And so we have to sell, and we do have a good product here, but it's hard to sell to people that obviously, I mean, they want a good education, but they don't want to pay for it.
They don't want to be 200. Yeah, I know. That's why I was so happy. I was so happy my son got into Middlebury because they're need blind. They're a need blind school. So they wanted him. He got in, and then they gave us the financial aid based on what we make and what we can afford. It was cheaper than sending him to UW-Madison.
That's fantastic.
I know. So that's a wonderful thing, but a lot of schools are not that way. No, it's like.
And I think that schools like Middlebury, because they're so good academically, and we are too, but we have a different niche. Because both schools stand for something, they're going to survive this crisis.
I think so
some
too.
schools that are just.
I think there's going to be a lot of schools the size of your school that are not going to come out of the other end of this.
I agree.
Or they're going to hang on for a year, and then people are going, I'm not paying that price to go online. That is the issue. I think the ones that are, I mean, this is a nursing school. If you want to go here, it's a small school, blah, 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 and you want to become, those are the kind of schools that I think are going to make it. I think actually some of the big universities the states are going to have to come in and help them out.
Yeah. And I fear, I think they will. I think they will come in. I think there's going to be a bailout in higher education. I don't know how much.
Right, because I'm the stats teacher. There's no way you're putting 40,000 kids into UW-Madison, UW-Wisconsin. There's no way.
Yeah,
you're not going to. Yeah. They're not going to social distance. I've taught that age. They're not social distance. They might not get sick as much, but they're not going to social distance. All right, so let's jump into your topic. So, first, when you said something about offensive strategy, what was that you wanted to talk?
Well, some of the mistakes that I made, and also how I learned to maybe why run a certain offense rather than something else. And I learned from John Barr, who was the longtime coach here at Grove City. It comes down to three things. I mean, what you run offensively should come down to your own personnel, the personnel of of your opponents, who you have to play, night in and night out, and then your ability to teach and to coach. So in my first decade here at Grove City, our talent was comparable with everybody else in the league. In fact, over those 10 years, every league member won the league or won the conference tournament. And so there was a lot of parity. And we were running offenses that I would say were popular back then. We actually ran the swing offense for a while when we had a certain clientele.
I did that too. I did that when I had the NBA kid. I coached Wesley Matthews Bucks, and
yeah,
I ran and swing. And part of it is they were just so talented that I had to make sure they were doing what they needed to do at times. So it was like, slow down. I know you can, but I
love that offense.
It's a great offense. It's a great offense.
And our clientele changed a little bit, and so we were running the Princeton off. But then in the early part of this decade, some things that were not in our control changed the competitive atmosphere. One was that we allowed 4 new schools to join our conference.
Okay.
All of them were basketball schools with great tradition. Okay, so it made it tougher there. But this was also the time where our costs were rising and our financial aid was going down. So what was happening was our talent level was staying the same, but we were seeing talent at our competitors going up. And
everybody, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you subscribe and like no matter where you listen, Apple, Spotify. We love those 5-star reviews. Make sure you also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.
It wasn't a level playing field.
It was not a level playing field, but we were continuing to. It was like we were playing our strength against the strength of our opponents in terms of offense.
Right.
But the strength of our opponents was stronger than our strength. And
right.
And so we were losing.
Right.
In fact, I told this.
Before you do that. So let's talk about the recruit. You obviously recruit a specific type of player, kid or student.
Yes.
No, they're not kids; they're student because they're that 18 to 22. They're students. So you're recruiting a specific type of student. Academic, faith-based, blah, blah, blah. But then in those 10 years, were you looking for a specific type of player? Were you trying, because the swing is a very specific, were you recruiting to, like Bo Ryan, I think is one of the best coaches as far as recruiting to the type of system he plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tony Bennett's very good about that right now in Virginia. He recruits the type of players fits his system. Were you doing that?
No, we weren't. We were just trying to get the best player to come to Grove City, and then we were adjusting the offense to the clientele that we had. And then as our talent, I would say, was staying steady, but everyone else's was rising. And I use this analogy. It's a military one from the Revolutionary War. Like the Continental Army had of farmers and peasants going against the British Redcoats, which was the best army in the world at that time. And had the Continental Army fought the same way as the Redcoats, well, we would have lost the War of Independence.
Right. We'd be drinking tea. We'd be drinking tea at 2 p.m. You're right.
Yes, right. And keeping with that analogy, we said as a staff, we have to do things, again, war analogy, asymmetric warfare.
Right.
We have to guerrilla warfare. So we have to do something different. And at the time, we had a specific type of client. We were a little bit bigger, a little bit slower. We knew that we could be good around the paint, maybe up to 15 feet. And so we came up with an offense that allowed every one of our players on that team at that time to score, not just our best, but everybody. We were thinking about an offense that would be difficult to guard, an offense that would also, because we were strong and physical, could maybe wear down our opponents so that they weren't as effective on their side of the floor offensive. And then also an offense that we could teach well, and something that would fit our culture. And you're going to laugh, but we came up with the flex offense, which is as old as you and me, Steve. Maybe older. It was the game changer for us.
It's very similar to the swing. It's very similar to the swing, just a few different.
Exactly.
Moves. Yeah.
And it fit our style, and no one else was running it. It seems like, at least at the collegiate level, virtually every team is running a variant of the dribble drive offense, which is effective, or people wouldn't do it. But we couldn't do that because we didn't have the same talent level.
Right.
So we're doing guerrilla warfare in basketball, and our way of doing that was the flex offense.
How many teams?
So,
how many teams in your league?
There are 10.
There are 10. And what is everybody? At most, everyone runs some form of dribble drive.
Yes, I would say 8 of the 10 do a variant of it.
So you're talking about something that I'm a firm believer in. If you're zigzag, you're zag, and I'm zigzag, and I'm doing something always opposite. If everyone in our league is doing this, I play more zone than I necessarily like because everyone plays man. So I'm going to play some zone because you're all playing man. I just want to. It's that guerrilla warfare thing. I think it's a great analogy for young coaches that are listening.
Yeah, Steve, and I think the same way because at least on offense, no one's running the flex, and so everyone has to prepare for us a little bit differently. And you have 2 days to prepare, but and everyone knows the screens are coming. Everyone knows it's a down screen, cross screen. You still have to guard it. The 18th man on our squad is effective in it because we're trying to get layups.
Right.
You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to have.
And you're working on the read because I'm switching you probably a lot if I can.
Yes.
If we're even blah blah blah. Well then,
right.
I know you're going to switch. So here's my reads and the switches, and how am I doing that? And I'm trying to get an isolation, all this kind of stuff. So there's lots of nuances. The offense looks very simple, and and that's why it's a great one for youth coaches actually in some respects, as long as they can enter the ball because it's easy and they don't have to worry about it. But when you get to your level or my level, then the complexities of they're switching, or what are we going to do here? What happens when we? There's a lot of little pieces to that offense.
Hey, and Steve, and one of the mistakes I think I was making early this decade when we weren't competitive was, everyone else is running this. There are videos on it. The best coaches in the nation are running it. Well, I guess I should too. It just wasn't a fair fight, so we had to do something. The old, it's an overused term, but think outside the box. And our way about thinking outside the box was going way back to the 1970s.
I don't even talk about thinking outside the box. That's even assuming there's a box. I want you to just think differently. That's what I always talk about, because people say, think there's a box we're talking in right now. And if I'm thinking, I don't even want to think that there's a box. I want you to think so far out that there's not even a box. Just think differently.
And do you think that there's peer pressure on coaches, especially young coaches, to conform to the basketball culture, especially when it comes to offense?
I think there's I think there's peer pressure. I think there's, I'm just trying to think the exact way to say it. In the last 5 or 6 weeks, there's been a lot of free clinics and things going on and all this great stuff. To be a good coach, for someone that's done this for a long time, you have to be you, first of all. Second of all, you got to figure something you're comfortable coaching.
Right.
That was your third point, something you feel you can teach and coach. I don't have Duke's players. I don't, good Coach K can do that, but I got to read what I got and then be able to teach that. So I think it's the kind of the shiny object syndrome a little. Ooh, they're doing it. They're doing it. Like Syracuse national title, let's 2-3 zone. Wow, look at what Virginia's playing pack line. Let's play pack. They're all good, and I'm not saying you can't do them, but I think you got to find what works well for your system, your program, your community, your players. They're called lurking variables, and there's so many of them. You've got to try to neutralize as many of them as you can. And you're probably able to recruit and get players that can run that kind of system. That's what Bo Ryan did at Wisconsin. So he went to the Final Four. He got specific players that, if Duke would have called them, they'd all gone to Duke. But he got players that would fit his system and run it the way that he thought. But I think for young coaches listening, I think you just got to find something, and you'll change over time. I've had teams where we will outscore you. We will beat you 100. And my last state tournament team 2 or 3 years ago, we wanted to be in the 40 because we had a great center and we were going to grind you. It's like, so I think that's what good coaches do. You have to adjust to it. But yes, I think there's some unconscious peer pressure. I think look what they're running. I need to run that too.
And I was privileged.
And you and I are old enough that we don't take that too much.
And I even have, and it's used against us. Like, you want to go to Grove City and run the flex? Yeah, because I think there's a mindset among players that freedom is, I just go down there, I dribble, drive, and I kick.
Right.
If we define freedom, I think it's being successful running what is good for you. So a 6'6" kid is not having much freedom when he has to break down at least a Division III, break down a kid and then kick for a three. But his freedom is, I'm going to get big. I'm going to post up and I'm going to go to work on the block.
How many kids do you normally keep on your roster?
We keep 20, which may seem like a lot, but we try to develop, and because we're heavy on bigger players. Bigger, I mean taller players that can. We try to play 3 power forwards at the same time. Oftentimes, if they're very skilled, they may be going and playing at a Division II or NAIA school. Those young men that we get may not be developed either in terms of skill, and oftentimes it's because, well, they were in a dribble drive situation in high school, and so they played on the backside and were just there to rebound. Or they're physically immature, and so we have to develop them. So of the 20
maturity
guys,
level is crazy too. I've seen my son in the last 6 weeks, how much weight he's put on and how strong he's got because he's going to graduate. It's like there's kids do that. It's not a perfect window of when that happens. Either, you know.
And we oftentimes get the late bloomers, which is okay.
Yeah.
And we can develop them in we have 10 JV games that we play every year.
That's the key. I mean, I don't think 20, trust me, from the D3 games I've seen in our area, and I've watched some of my players go and play and the couple coaches I've talked to, I mean, I think that's part of it is a recruiting tool for the school too. They want people to play sports. They want them to come to the school. Yes. There's all sorts of stuff. So it's not a roster of 12. They're going to be bigger rosters. Yeah. I think it's a D3 too.
It's almost like a farm system or a AAA system.
Yeah. Because the difference between an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old is a lot different than a 14 to 18. The spread is bigger, in my opinion. Physically. So much can happen there in that stretch. All right. So you talked about your picking the offense. What about opponents? You were talking about opponents? You had 3 points you were trying to make.
Yeah. Our offense and our ability to the teams that we have, our own talent. We also have to look at the talent that we're playing against. Looking at our league, well, everyone's dribble drive. I'm not going to run that because they already have better talent to start. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different, just like you would when you mentioned your defense. You're trying to, when they zig, you zag.
Right. Mm-hmm. And are you thinking that for your defense too against the dribble drive? If 8 of the 10 play dribble drive, then your defense must try to counter that.
We switch everything defensively, and that's our counter to what we see.
And do you switch on make miss? You switch on left right? Do you switch on
everything?
Everything. Yeah. And that causes.
And back in the day, we were Wisconsin pack line.
Okay. No, I think switching is good. We in the last couple of years have gotten to the rule of if someone scores on us 3 straight times, we change no matter what. We're just trying to keep their rhythm.
I like that.
Yeah, 3 seemed to be the perfect.
I'm writing that down.
That's okay,
buddy. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure no matter where you listen, Apple, Spotify, we love those 5-star reviews. Make sure you also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.